Are we ready? Yep. Absolutely. Right, so I declare the meeting open at 6 p.m. I'd like to acknowledge the traditionals all online.
Yep.
Traditional Maori people on whose land we are gathered here today. And just to let everyone know that this meeting will be live streamed and a recording of the meeting will be made. Right. Actually, I'll just start off with, we're going to add this to the agenda. But Councillor Gillum, are you able to confirm that if we do go into camera for any sort of confidential item, that you can maintain confidentiality?
Hello, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I'm alone and I can maintain confidentiality.
Thank you. So, record of attendance is we have all councillors and staff here with Councillor Gillum online and Councillor Roots as a leave of absence, of which she put through after the public briefing. So, soon we'll get to that. I'll have to ask someone to move that. But before we get there, before is public question time. Do you have any questions from the public? Jamie?
Yes, please. Thank you. Yeah.
Just gotta put use your name and address, suburb, before you ask your question.
No worries.
So Jamie, I'll just give you a bit of a heads up. If you are heading into the territory of seeking to influence the council on a tender that they have in front of them, that could disqualify you from being a recipient of that tender. Because when we go through a tender process, anyone who's involved in the tender has to have an exactly equal process. So, for example, if you want to be making some statements to council that influences how they approach that tender, I'd need to offer the same opportunity to everyone else who's going through the tender, so it's a completely fair and equitable process. So I'll leave that with you now, but that's my my cautionary tale for you, if that is where you're headed.
Thank you, Virginia. I appreciate that. I have thought through that briefly and chatted to some of your staff today and came to the conclusion that asking concise questions shouldn't be encroaching on the grounds of canvassing. Very interesting definitions. Talk about it separately. But,
look, I know it's a strange situation, and it's also for the benefit of councillors just to understand the territory that we're in, and I appreciate that you've spoken to the staff, so thank you. And sorry, Mr. Mayor.
That's okay. That's okay.
I did have the intention of giving a deputation today, and absolutely should have given it a week ago, but did intend to stand aside. However, I did want to raise a couple of points for hopefully the benefit of the community in the future, less so than my own personal business affairs. However, my name is Jamie McKenna, Managing Director of Canal Planning Services with the 6th Broad Leander in Karratha. So, shall I go on with question one?
Jamie, what is your question?
I've got 2 questions. Regarding item 12.2 on the agenda and the city's 2025 community survey identifying housing affordability and availability as top concerns for residents. How has the city mitigated the risk of service failure from out-of-town providers who do not own local staffed housing, particularly given Karratha's 0.5% rental vacancy rate and the high requirement for asset cleared personnel at the airport?
That question, Jamie. Through you, CEO. How can I get an answer to that question?
I think I'll take that on notice. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Fair enough. I appreciate that. Question 2, my last question we have here, Cliff. Just on regional price preference and local investment involvement in the community. Again, regarding item 12.2 and the city's regional price preference policy, given that our group pays nearly $100,000 annually across 38 separate City of Karratha rates bills, maintains a local headquarters along with 36 staff housing units. Does the city's evaluation process, not just in this tender but all tenders, and I think this is a worthwhile point for consideration in the future beyond this process, does the city's evaluation process distinguish between companies that simply meet the minimum local criteria on paper and I put forth that that's a pretty low bar to achieve. And those that demonstrate a deep multi-million-dollar capital investment in Karratha through local ownership, local management, people that live in the community, youth community, independent staff housing, guaranteed service continuity, especially in the current 0.5% vacancy rate situation, and significant local reinvestment through sponsorship of local community events, clubs, and associations, etc.
Thank you, Jamie. And that is a good question, and it's something that we as a council and the staff here have been thinking about as well. Is the 10% regional price preference is legislated. So as a council, if we choose to, just be further discussions, we've got an advocacy portfolio, and that's something we could add on an advocacy list to, advocate to the state government to say, listen, this is unreasonable in certain regional locations like ours. It needs to be lifted. And then, your point around, local business and the reinvestment to, if it's housing or sporting groups or community, is something that in our policy we need to sort of have a look at as well, because it does come up quite a bit where, a company that lives and works here and employs here and provides housing donates to sporting clubs, and how do we measure that in our sort of tender process? So good points you're raising, good questions, and I think we can take some of them on notice as well.
I think so. It's probably the safest thing to do at this point.
Yeah.
No problems at all. I expect that was the outcome, but no, I do appreciate that second point. Thank you for your understanding of that. I do think it's something important. Ticking a local box is one thing, but all of the other elements are probably more.
Yeah.
I can leave a copy of my questions if that's easy for you.
You can. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you.
Okay. No other public questions? No. Right. 5 is petition interpretations and presentations, of which there are none. I'm going to call it 5.5. So 5.5 is leave of absence. Councillor Roots, let's someone move her approval. Councillor Simpson, seconded Councillor Swaffer. All those in favour? No one against? That has been approved. And then while we're on that subject, is there anyone that would that needs a leave of absence for the next council meeting? Nope. Okay. If that changes, just let us know at the next public briefing. Right. 6 is declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations of interest? Right, this is the first. I think. Excellent. No declarations of interest. 7 is confirmation of minutes with the office recommendation that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on Monday the 15th of December be confirmed as true and correct record of proceedings. Can someone move that motion? Move that. Simpson, seconded. Councillor Furlong. Anyone against the motion? Motion has carried. 8 is announcements by a person presiding without discussion, of which that seems right now. Yeah, I didn't. So I didn't end up meeting the police, did I? I didn't.
No, I think we've corrected
Not in
it.
an
Thank
official
you.
capacity.
Yeah.
All right. 9 is the corporate and commercial reports, with 9.1 being statements for period ended 30th of November and the 31st of November 2025. With the office recommendation on page 8, and that is the council received the financial statements for the financial period ending 31st of December 2025, which includes also November of 2025, as shown in attachments 1 to 4. Have someone move this motion? Councillor Harris, someone to second it? Councillor Simpson, anyone against it? Motion has passed. Okay. 9.2 is the list of payments for the 1st of November 2025 through to the 31st of December 2025, with the officer's recommendation that council receive the list of payments totalling nearly 40 million, $39,787, as detailed in attachments 1, 2 and 3. And have someone move this motion? Councillor Furlong, someone to second it? Councillor Gillum? Anyone against anything in the list of payments or the motions? No?
Question.
A question?
Yep.
Obviously, we had the opportunity last week, but it was such a full agenda, I didn't get the opportunity. So, being the new kid on the block, I've only been in the council for a couple of months. This should be easy enough for someone to answer. All right, so
I hope so.
on page 5, all right, payment number 094680, $773,337.72. It was
Wickham overlighting and footings.
Wickham overlighting footings, and it was our electrical contractor was solar. So I was just wanted to know, was this done as part of an RFT, or was this part of our preferred tender, scope?
Yeah.
Because I just why I ask is the overlighting and footings, because obviously overlighting is electrical and falls under it, but footings probably not their specialty.
Yeah, thank you. That's a really good question. I might refer that to the director for response.
Yeah, through the chair, that was done through the preferred contract.
Yeah, and they did the footings as well. Because that wouldn't be in their scope of work, normally under preferred contract. You know.
I'll take that one on notice.
Thank you.
Right.
That's all. Sorry.
Great, thank you. Good question.
Any other questions? For a reason, no. All right, that motion has passed. 9.3 is the investments period ended 31st of December 2025. And the officer recommendations that council receive the investment report for the financial period ending 31st of December 2025, which includes November of 2025. Have someone move this motion? Councillor Stropper, someone to second it. Councillor Simpson. Anyone against the motion? Councillor Stropper, would you like to speak for the motion?
I do, but it also might need an amendment. So in relation to the Golgara Apartments development, when the question that was responded to with regards to the overpayment or the incorrect payment, this is still now showing life to date as 7,356,000. So I'm just wondering if this also needs to be updated or if it's correct.
I'll throw that. Sorry. No, that's fine. So through the chair, can I ask the director corporate services to respond to that?
Yeah, so I believe at the moment our response to the question being the 4.3 million it would be the correct number on the payments list.
Yeah, whereas it's just saying 7.3 in this table. Yeah.
Okay.
So I just think that might need to be amended or reviewed.
Yeah, I'll put that on notice to review it, to double check, given our CFO is not here tonight.
Anyone else? Councillor Simpson will speak for the motion. No. That motion has carried. 9.4, the long-term financial plan.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Mr. Chair.
I'm sure we had this conversation.
We absolutely did. It was my conversation. So, councillors, I just wanted to advise that I've requested the Mayor that we withdraw this item tonight. The reason for that is that through an administrative error, there was no attachment. So you've got a report, but it refers to an attachment and the attachment never actually got added. So that was our mistake. I apologise for that. So, but you're not able to fully consider the item without the attachment. So we will bring that back to you next month. And my apologies.
Yeah. All right, so that is not on the agenda tonight.
That's right. Withdrawn by the CEO. Thanks.
Okay, we move into 10. Experience reports. We've got 10.1 is the draft engagement policy CS24 and guidelines. And the officer recommendation is the council endorse draft revised community engagement policy and draft engagement guidelines to be advertised for public comment. Someone move this motion? Councillor Harris, someone to second it? Simpson, anyone against the motion? Councillor Harris, would you like to speak for it?
Yeah, to say that obviously we want to be able to engage with our people in the right way. So this is a draft policy. We'll put it out and see what comes back. Go from there.
Yeah. It's continuous improvement is community engagement. You can always get the benefit of that. Not saying we're doing a bad job. Right. 11 is development services report. 11.1 is the corporate emissions profile and emissions reduction plan 2025. The officer's recommendation that council endorse the City of Karratha's corporate emissions profile and emissions reduction plan 2025 in attachment 1. Someone move this motion? Councillor Simpson, seconded. Councillor Furlong. Anyone against the motion? Councillor Simpson, would you like to speak for it?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, made a good step forward from us at the city. I think that part of that bigger world we live in is reducing our carbon footprint and to identify the report's really good, goes a long way to identify, obviously, through our waste services where a lot of our emissions are coming from. So it's pretty exciting as we work through how we can reduce that and take a big step forward. And then look at all those other small things that we're doing. We discussed during the briefing session around some solar and some lighting changes and so forth, and get ourselves a target as we move forward to reducing that carbon. Would be great. So good policy, good step forward, and set a good standard.
Yeah, it has no idea that 81% of emissions just comes from the tip. So it's a good thing though. It's a big outlier that we know. Oh, if you want to reduce your emissions, there's a huge tip there that we can just immediately work on.
We found gas, turn it to power.
Yeah, to reduce it. Yeah. Councillor Furlong.
I suppose that the important part is to acknowledge the work that the administration put into this. It's the only way forward, and it's nice that we can be leading the pack in local government, maybe this one too.
With that, I don't know what other local governments are doing in this space, but once we put this out, we'll find out who else is doing it pretty soon, because I dare say we'll get some commentary from it in the media. Right, well, that motion has passed. 11.2 is the request for final adoption of scheme amendment number 60 to the City of Karratha's local planning scheme number 8, the omnibus amendment. And the officer's recommendation is quite large. That council, in accordance with regulation 50 of the planning and development planning schemes regulations 2015, note the submissions received, endorse the response to the submissions as an attachment in accordance with regulation 53B of the planning and development regulations, determines to support with modification amendment number 60 to the City of Karratha local planning scheme number 8 as detailed in attachment 1 and 5. And in accordance with regulation 34 and 35 of the planning and development regulations, retain the standard amendment classification for number 60 for the following reasons as listed through A to E. And 4, note the intention to revoke the following structure plans pursuant to regulations 35 of the planning and development regulations. Upon approval of the scheme amendment number 60, and there's the structure plan area, Dante Road, Paynton West, lot 617 Shedwood Drive, and lot 613 Wotherspoon Road in Mill as well. May I have someone move this motion?
Exciting continues, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Simpson. Someone to second the motion. Councillor Furlong. Is there anyone against this motion? No, that motion is finally adopted, and we shall never see it again. Right.
Until when this time?
So the next one is.
Okay, 11.3 is the economic development and tourism strategy for 2025 to 2035. With the officer's recommendation that council endorse the City of Karratha's economic development and tourism strategy for 2025 to 2035. Can I have someone move this motion? Councillor Harris, someone second it. Councillor Gillam. Anyone against this motion? Okay, Councillor Harris, would you like to speak for it?
Yep, I spoke for this one when we put it out to the public. This is a great piece of work. It's got deliverables in there. I want to get a copy of it as soon as it comes out, and I'll be keeping track. I mean, it's going to be 10 years in the process, but I'll be keeping track along the way to see when we can tick off these deliverables that are in the plan. So it's fantastic.
Harris. Councillor Gillam, would you like to anything further?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Harris. You spoke really well. I completely agree, and I also completely agree with the feedback that we received from the community, particularly around the shortage of tourism accommodation and limited visitor experiences. And I look forward to seeing the implementation of this strategy and making some tangible improvements to the situation we have at the moment. And Councillor Harris is going to track those for us, so that is fabulous, and I will let you do that.
That's right. Yeah. Give yourself a job, Jeff.
Thank you.
There's no one against that motion. That has passed. 12.1 is the 7 Mile Waste Facility Class 3, Cells 3 and 4 construction tender outcome. With the officer's recommendation that council accept the tender submitted by Rawbex Construction as the most advantageous tender to form a contract based on assessment of compliance, quality and pricing criteria which was offered under RFT 54, and authorise the CEO to execute a contract with Rawbex Construction and subject to any variations of a minor nature. Now, someone move this motion? Anyone? Councillor Berlon, second the motion. Would anyone like to second the motion? Sitting on the table.
I'm happy to second motions.
Councillor Simpson. Is anyone against the motion? Councillor Berlon, would you like to speak for it?
I think that the director did good governance on this and picked the right company who've done work for us previously for the job. So, trust the administration.
Anything further there, Councillor Simpson? No. If there's no one against that motion, that is passed. 12.2 is the cleaning services tender outcome. With the officer recommendation, the council accept the tenders submitted by Karratha Cleaning. For Service Package 2, the Karratha Leisurepex, Service Package 4, the Porter Headquarters, and Service Package 6, the Eastern Corridor Facilities, and Bipart Enterprise for Service Package 3, the Karratha Airport, and Service Package 5, the Administration Facilities, and Blue Hat Group, trading as Daniel Cleaning Services, for Service Package 1, as the most advantageous tenders to form a contract for RFT 51. And 2, authorise the CEO to execute contracts with Karratha Cleaning, Bipart Enterprise and Blue Hat Group, subject to any variations of a minor nature. Can I have someone move this motion? Anyone? Mr. Hanson. Someone to second the motion? Akers? Councillor Gillum. Is anyone against the motion? Councillor Johans, yes? Yep. Councillor Lobby, you're against the motion? Right. Councillor Johansson, would you like to speak for the motion?
Not really. Like, I'm disappointed that, we have the outcomes that are subjected upon us. Like, it's been brought up several times by councillors around the table that, we're not happy with the state regulations that we're only allowed to award a certain percentage for local contractors. Like, we're all pretty much on board with that. I think it's something we should be pushing back more on, and we should be able to award, whoever we want that we see fit, especially locals, considering, these ones that come in from out of town. I see, it's one of those things, we don't go ahead with it, we're just going to delay the process and cause another adjournment to it. It's just something that we need to get sorted.
Through these circumstances, things come up, right? Where you go, right, there's things we can do in the future that could change these things hopefully for the better. Yes, sorry.
I'm just mindful of reading through the report and the difference between the report and the confidential attachment. But I understand that there was a moderate risk advised on mobilisation of staff. But I too have concerns around, it's great to have new businesses to town too, and we need that balance, but I'm concerned with the large quantity of staff required to complete these tender contracts. And yeah, given the issues with housing, I'm just not comfortable in supporting.
Swap that. Councillor, who seconded it? Councillor Simpson.
Gillum.
No, Councillor Gillum. Councillor Gillum, would you like to speak for the motion?
Sure. Yeah, this is a really difficult one. I concur with Councillor Johansson's comments. You know, do I think that the 10% regional price preference is fair? Absolutely not. Have we been given the officer's recommendation after a very interrogative process, a thorough process that they've undertaken? Yes. Is there an easy answer to this? No. So, yeah, other than to echo Councillor Johansson's comments, I would completely agree with as he said it.
Councillor Gillum. Councillor Swapper, anything further to add in your?
No, thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Right, we'll put it to the vote. So those for the motion. Three. Those against the motion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Motion has lost. Back to the drawing board. Here you go. Thank you for that, everyone. That's all.
I think I made a couple of comments and questions at briefing as well, but I do think it would be an opportunity to look at this as a panel process too, so that if businesses weren't able to fulfil the contract. Yeah.
Thanks to everyone. Moving on to the next one, 12.3 is the Wickham South Youth Recreation Area. Request to call for tender with the officer's recommendation that council agree to invite tenders for the Wickham South Youth Recreation Area in accordance with the scope of works outlined in this report. So I'll move this motion. Councillor Swapper. Want to second the motion? Councillor Furlong. Anyone against this motion? Councillor Swapper, anything to add?
I look forward to it coming to fruition.
Right, well, that motion has carried. 13 is the Chief Executive Officer reports, with 13.1 being the annual community survey results for 2025. And the officer's recommendation is the council receive the results of the 2025 annual community survey and notes the results will inform A, the 26-27 operational plan and budget, and B, council endorsed advocacy priorities with other levels of government and stakeholders. Can I have someone move this motion? Councillor Harris, someone to second the motion? Councillor Simpson. Anyone against? Community survey results? Councillor Harris, would you like to speak for it?
This is obviously where we get the feedback from the community. So this is what we've got to live by now. So it's important to see cost of living wasn't a surprise. Cost of living is the highest priority. So I think going forward, we've got to look at those results and develop our plan going forward, taking that in mind. So I think with this upcoming strategic planning session we've got in Perth, we can use the cost of living as one of the drivers that we can do a session on or something like that. That we can come up with some ideas to what local government can do to help in that space and double down. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a really important set of data and statistics that give us a real good view on how communities feeling and what their pains and pressure points are, and what we're doing right. That's in there too. Right. Who seconded that? Is it better to add, Councillor Simpson?
I think we've summed that up. The only thing that you've just commented is about the goalpost for us. Always good to survey to find out. We do those strategic plannings, we do our community plan, and then it's reflected in these reports that we get back. So it gives us a good bit of guidance going forward. So it's always good. A little bit of interesting. First time we've done it in February. We changed it around October. Hope to capture a better audience. So we sort of see how we go. Yeah, but it's one of those test and measures. It's always good to do.
Yeah, and yeah. So obvious that housing is the most pressing issue. The second is shade of playgrounds, which is I think something we can actually we can actually do something about that. Yeah. All right. If there's no one against that motion, that has carried. 13.2 is the 2026 Council and CEO agreement, communications agreement. There we go. With the officer's recommendation that Council adopts the 2026 Council and CEO Communications Agreement. Someone move this motion? Councillor Furlong, someone to second it? Councillor Swaffer. Is anyone against the Council and CEO Communications Agreement as it's written? Right. Councillor Furlong, would you like to speak for it?
Just that communication is the backbone of what we do. And obviously this is legislation now, so it's good to have, solid foundations.
Community engagement and communication are two of the hardest things to absolutely get right. Right, there's no one against that, and that motion has carried. 13.3 is the City of Karratha's position on the electoral reforms, with the officer's recommendation that Council endorses the introduction of compulsory voting for local government elections. 2, endorses the implementation of a four-yearly elections through an all-in, all-out method. And 3, recognises that adopting recommendations 1 and 2 will result in additional electoral costs to the city. And has someone move this motion?
We suspend standing orders and discuss this.
We can. We can. We can move the motion.
Move the motion.
Move the motion.
David.
So it was moved by Councillor Gilson, wasn't it? No, Councillor Gillen, did you move it? No, Councillor Gillen did. Can someone second it? Councillor Harris. Right. Would you like to suspend standing orders, Councillor Harris?
Yes, I think this is an important, decision to get, all councillors' side of the story here. This is, an important document that's got to go back to the state government, and it'll sort of may not influence where they go, but there is an opportunity that it will.
Yeah.
So
this will go as far as I understand. It goes to Walga first.
Correct.
Where all 159 local governments will have their opinion on this, and then Walga will ask the zones to vote on it, and I guess the state council, and then whatever position they determine on state council, that is what will go to the minister. So I think an important thing to think about though is it only works with both. Right? You can't do one or the other. You can't introduce all yearly elections all in all out and then not have compulsory voting. So it's either.
So I'd like to talk for not having compulsory voting and stick with the 2-yearly cycle.
Yeah, well, that's I guess once we go back into standing orders, that's what we'll be voting on.
Yeah.
Whether you support the officer's recommendation or you do not.
So I just think that 4 yearly election cycles is a long time. The 2-yearly one works well. You still get a turnover of people. Half of them get back in according to the stats. The main concern I have is the compulsory election. That'll put another burden. The cost of living was identified as people's concern, and if we if people are unable to vote for some reason beyond them, then they'll get a fine, and then the local government will be then responsible for collecting that fine. So, you know, we're trying to make ourselves look better here, and by fining people and chasing them around town is not my idea of you know, how it should work. If people are engaged and they will vote. If they don't care, they won't vote. All right, and that gets the people that you want to vote. Is people that will make the effort when it's not compulsory. So that's my side of the story.
Anyone else got any concerns or comments they want to raise before we go back to the standing orders?
Mine was just, oh, sorry.
You go.
Go. If we were going to say the same thing.
You better go first thing.
The additional costs for the 4 yearly, I think we've talked about that a little bit too, to sort of weigh up how, like, yeah, how it actually becomes more when you're doing it half the time, even though, like, you're still mailing out to everybody. If it's still a mail out, still the same amount of mail outs that we're doing, and you would still have an election day where you'd be counting. So yes, you might have additional costs there, but I still find that
I guess that's why there's not a number there, right? It's just
it's like a dollar more. I just find that, you know, if I was looking at that recommendation,
There is a number.
Yeah.
In the follow-up data, there's none.
Yeah.
On what it proposes, you know, it could cost based off likely cost. Yeah. $10, which is like double, which doesn't make any sense by cutting the thing in half.
And
it's
that's
more
what I was
time, but
yeah, and that's what I was sort of questioning. I know the numbers.
you hardly mail it. You're not mailing out 26,000 envelopes, you're only mailing out 13,000.
Yeah. So I wonder how that figure comes about.
I guess it doesn't. It's not going to result in anything we decide today. Is not it?
No, but it's in for me. If that recommendation, I would not probably agree with .3 to say that it definitely like that. It.
I think that's an amendment then.
Yeah. So through the chair, I think the question is the quantum, and I think Councillor Jay Henson made a really good point last week, which was, you know, you're going to be mailing out to the same group.
Yeah.
So you could probably argue that that's going to be comparison, you know, going to be very similar. I think that the backroom work will be more, and then there will be some fees relating to compliance costs, which will be more. But all I can do is give you the figures that we've been provided. But that, in terms of sizing up the financial impact, it's not until we actually get a quote from the Electoral Commission that I can give you a really clear read on that. But I think what we're just saying is there will be some additional costs compared to what we currently do. Is kind of the advice we've been given.
And to ask about Councillor Harris's point about chasing up people who don't vote, that's an AEC. That's not a local government. WAC. So that's not something that local government would.
It says that we'll be responsible for chasing them.
We'll be responsible. My understanding is that we would take on the role of we would have to pay the fee for the follow-up is what I understand is the case. But we wouldn't necessarily be the ones doing that work. We would probably be paying the AEC to do that work. But they would be the ones who keep the records. That's my understanding.
But then you confirmed last week also that we don't end up even then receiving the fine.
The money.
Yeah, the money. So we've got to pay for chasing it up, but we don't even get to receive it.
I believe that's the case.
We're just generating money for the state government.
Do you have any? You're not really sure.
I think those details still haven't been worked out yet.
Yeah, I've got to say we are flying a bit blind.
I don't think they've even determined whether there will be a fine.
Well, there'll always be a fine because it's in the Act. I think one of the key issues today in this item here, I've read every article on this, looked at both sides of the argument. The current system works fine. You could argue that 20-25% is not enough voter turnout, but it's always been a rule if low voter turnout means there's not a lot wrong in the local government, they're happy. So they're not trying, when they vote for change, so vote for numbers would always be the thing that happens. So of the 137 local governments in Western Australia, right now there's probably 5 of them that are on a watch list, commissioners or whatever, and it always will be, which is not one of those beasts. The other side of the equation, bringing in compulsory voting, brings party politics front door in the front door. There's no way you can stand in an election campaign without using the party politics machine. So that party politics you see at the state and federal election will walk in the front door of the local government, people will be on banners and using the local members to get them vote numbers up. And that's what happens in the eastern states. So my reason for opposing it is the fact that you will be party politics. So that's the part. So the interesting thing is that, but I'll make the last comment, we'll do the government one. So we're not going to move the motion.
I mean, they're just, if it gets up, it'll just be in line with whatever everyone else does. It's only Western Australia and South Australia, the only 2 states that still do it this way. If you look over east, and you're right, Councillor Simpson, this will become a political breeding ground of party politics. Could ensue. Anyway, but if we are done discussing it, let's go back into standing orders. And we've got who moved it?
The standing orders.
So I can move it, we go back in.
Yes.
I'll move it and go back into.
Seconded. That's a quick one. Right, so we have the officer's recommendation. It's on the table. Remind me who moved it.
I second.
Councillor Gillam
Gillam and Harris.
and Councillor Harris. Okay, so is there anyone against the motion? Councillor Harris. Right.
Against.
Yep, so I just need someone. Councillor Gillam, would you like to speak for the motion?
Sure. So firstly, I do agree that there are challenges in supporting this. I think that WA will be brought into line with the rest of the country, whether we like it or not. And I think that we can get ahead of the curve and have our opinion whilst also supporting this. The reasons I think we should get ahead and support it is that compulsory 4-year terms is going to demonstrate consistency among all 3 different types of elections that we have. And it will then just become for the future generations will be, if there's an election, I have to vote. So I'm going to inform myself and I'm going to cast my vote, which is their right and their privilege. And I think we should be absolutely encouraging everybody to do that. And compulsory voting is, I think, the best way to do that. I think it will encourage more people to participate. I do agree. I think it will go a long way to stamping out extremism that we're seeing creeping into local government, because you can with a small amount of votes when only 23% of people turn up. I don't agree with the entry of political parties into local government. I think it should be by the community, for the community. However, that's how it's run over East. I think we can only fight it for a certain amount of time, and it's coming at us regardless, so we might as well embrace it. And the other thing I don't love, but I think is inevitable, is that not only party politics, but the obviously candidates running tickets to get elected. I don't agree with that either, but I think the benefits outweigh the negatives in this situation. Sermon over.
Councillor Harris, you like to speak against?
Yeah, well, I've obviously put my points out there that I'm not for it for a few particular reasons. So I'll just leave it at that. Vote on it.
Councillor Fairlawn.
I think it's no, I'm happy not to talk about it. I've listened and I've made my mind up anyway. I didn't second it or anything.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak for it or against it? Right, well, let's put it to the vote. So those for the officer's recommendation. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those against.
Just capture. So the 4s were Gillam, Swaffer, Simpson, and Furlong.
And those against, again. Yeah, and I am also against. I think it's coming whether we like it or not. However, the thought of party politics coming to local government is a worrying thing. And I don't think that this decision tonight will have any impact on the decision that's made in the future. All right. So that was 5. Oh, that was 4-4.
So you get the council. So you go with status quo.
Yeah, status quo is
No.
well, that's not. Well, I'm against. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No.
That's it. Right. That's unfortunate that it was this sort of item that I had to power.
Decision that makes no impact at all.
Right, well, that motion has
Been
lost. Okay. 13.4 is items for information only. The officer's recommendation of the following items listed there: the public agenda briefing session with additional information, the concessions on cities fees for facilities, concession on fees for facilities both November and December, community experience update for the 2 months of November, December, development services update, and the record of tender outcome under delegation for Karratha Airport Terminal seating replacement, and record of tender outcome under delegation for Karratha Airport Management Review. And that's just for noting. 14. Notices of which previous notice has been given, there is none. 15, questioned by members of which due notice has been given, there are none. 16, urgent business approved by the person presiding or by decision, there is none. 17, matters behind closed doors, of which they just are attachments. All right, so then move on to 18, that's the closure of the meeting. I declare the meeting closed at 6:46 p.m. and the next ordinary council meeting is to be held here. I don't have a date. We need a bit of the information on it.
Yeah.
It's for noting, isn't it? Let's skip through the last one and then move it. So,
Yeah.
13.4.
The officer's recommendation at 13.4 to note the following information. So I think you read out the recommendation, but we didn't.
Yeah.
Second it.
I had queries before, and I haven't been past through this. It's just noting information, but anyway, it doesn't matter. If someone likes to move the information, Councillor Swapper, seconded, Councillor Furlong, anyone against that? Right, it's passed. All right, 18. Closure. All right, now the meeting is now closed at 6:47 p.m. and the next meeting will be held here at Council Chambers on, I don't have a date in the end.
No date on there, guys. Will you that date in the moment? Okay, so that will be, the next meeting will be the 23rd of March.
Next meeting to be held here in Council Chambers on the 23rd of March at 6 p.m. Right, thank you all for your attendance. Discussion, debate. Is dinner available?